The one thing too, like if anyone's like super skeptical on this kind of stuff, which you definitely should be, because I mean you shouldn't just believe everything you
Yeah.
read by any means or like see, because like we said, so much of this stuff could be fake. I just find it interesting. But if you ever want to have like a very convincing person, like go watch some Bob Lazar stuff.
Oh yeah, Bob
Like
Lazar.
the Jeremy Corbell documentary that just came out with where he actually had like interviews with Bob and everything. Like that shit was so good.
It was so
Like
good,
it is
and
so compelling.
he's
And it's
always
just
been like one of my top UFO guys, just from
yeah,
like the amount of information he's leaked, and
right.
you know,
Well, that's the thing too. After what, like 30 or so years or something, his story has never changed.
never. And
Like,
there's weird little things that come out that kind of almost give him some credence to like what he's been saying, because
of
there's a ton of people out there that think he's full of shit. But
course.
I don't know. I just don't get that vibe from him like whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't either, honestly. Like, not that I believe every single thing he says, but like again, like
True.
what he does say is very compelling. And
And
the
I mean,
fact,
why is he? What reason does he have to lie? He's not making money off of it. I mean,
exactly.
maybe now with like the documentary and that sort of stuff,
I
but
don't even
like,
know if he would be making. I'm sure to some degree, but I doubt. It's not like millions of people went to see this documentary in theaters and it made billions.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like I, I wouldn't think it's a money thing because if it was a money thing, I don't think he would have done what he did back when it happened. You know, I don't think he would
well,
have ever came out.
he's a smart guy too. I mean, he's a scientist. He owns a store called United Nuclear up in Michigan, and like, he definitely knows what he's talking about, at least from like the science aspect of it. And again, I think that lends him a little more credence to like what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's one thing too, because it's not like Jerry in his trailer saying he
No,
was abducted by aliens and I saw this UFO and you know, what I mean, it wasn't. It's like no, this was a respected guy
and he's got
who,
full scientific explanations for all of it.
yeah, and go watch. Honestly, dude, there is some crazy stuff in that documentary because like I
It's
remember
creepy at some
it is
points. Like,
creepy, and that's what I was gonna say. There's like I don't know if you were talking about the same thing by any means, but like there's like literally people who worked with him who like deny he ever worked there, but like they
yeah.
literally have evidence that like he worked at X location at X time with X person with like these people. There's like never heard of it.
Well,
And
the
it's like
one thing too was, what was I gonna say about it? Well, just the government, like, coming after him. They raided his store. They, you know, he's basically been told to shut the fuck up, and,
yeah,
people are like, "Oh, that's because he uses certain chemicals, like, that shouldn't be available to be purchased or whatever," but I don't know about that. I mean,
yeah,
why are you having, like, the FBI raid your place?
yeah. It's not something that happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Not something that happens to anybody who just like owns like the kind of store he's not the only person who owns that kind of store,
No.
you know, for them to do that. It doesn't
It's
make
like
any sense.
research supplies and chemicals and
Right.
yeah.
It's because of element 151, dude.
115.
Oh, 115
Yeah,
rather.
element 115.
That was my dyslexia there.
No, yeah.
I'm not truly dyslexic. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But oh man, go watch that documentary. It's
Yeah.
really good. It's really
Is that
good.
on Netflix?
I think it honestly was at one point.
That's
I
where I
bought
saw
it.
it.
Yeah, I bought it when it came out because obviously I'm into that shit.
Yeah,
So like I
yeah.
wanted to see it like as soon as I could.
I would
And
definitely recommend that, though. That's even a good kinda, like, starting place if you're even thinking about, like, maybe I do kinda believe in this stuff or whatever. Look
yeah,
up Bob Lazar, read his story, all that, and,
yeah.
pretty compelling.
It's definitely if you haven't seen it or like if you're like super skeptical about like UFOs and aliens and all that kind of stuff, like want like again, like we were saying, he's a respected like person. He's
Yeah.
not just like some random guy. So watching like Jeremy Corbell does like a really amazing job of like breaking down his life and like how he got to where he is now, from point A to point B. Like and
Yeah.
I mean, there's even one I remember one of the most fascinating aspects of the documentary. There was I forget his name, but at one point, while he was still working there at Area 51, he took like him and his friend, and like one of them was like an Air Force pilot. I forget his name. You
Yeah.
remember they took him. Bob knew they were testing these like crafts and like whatnot, so like they went to pretty much a viewing site to where he knew you could go in the middle of the
Oh, and they
desert
were, like, spot on.
to like oversee. Yeah, and it's like you could see
It
him.
was, like, on schedule when he said they would be flying.
Yeah,
You could see the lights, and
yeah.
he also it was, like,
Wasn't
Area
there
50.
footage from that too?
I think so,
I think
yeah.
because I think there's even footage, and this guy that was with him, not to interrupt, he went on to be like a well-respected like Air Force pilot and like things like that too. So like I don't know, it's just like it's good. Just watch it.
Well, the one thing too, everybody always talks about Area 51, and I think that's where he started initially. But with his story, he eventually moved to a place. It's like on a different lake bed just south of Area 51 called S4, and that's apparently where all these crafts are stored, located, researched.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and it really is too, just like the level of detail and the fact that the story hasn't changed, but the level of detail that he gets into with like how the crafts functioned, or where
Oh,
he
yeah.
would go to get to like his work area on site and like all these things, and like you said too, with he was able to go take these guys to somewhere in the middle of the desert where he knew at X time they were testing these crafts, and then boom, there they were.
Yeah.
Like it's not something you can just stage. You know what I
No,
mean? And
I
like he
don't think
gets
so.
nothing out of staging it. Now, is it just like, does that mean it's a UFO and like alien stuff? Not
Could
necessarily.
be government
but
research, like stealth technologies.
exactly. And it's like, but that's kind of the point, the fact that I don't know, they've gone out of their way to pretty much like silence him to like some degree.
Yeah, and I
It's
mean,
like,
you'd think that they would just be like, "Oh, this guy's crazy, don't listen to him." But like,
yeah,
they basically pretend like he doesn't exist, and I
yeah,
think a lot of his like accreditations from over the years have basically just been wiped out because, yeah,
yeah. And that's the thing too. Like I was saying, like people like who have like worked with him in the past, who he says he's worked for, they claim they don't know him, and then like there were places of work that like they show he never worked there, but then he has like a pay stub from them.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? And like they show you all this stuff, and it's like this is kind of,
makes you think.
if he's just crazy, why are they going through so much trouble to like discredit him to some degree?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because that's the weird thing. Is like you said, if it's just some rando person with no credence at all, then like they just have some government spokesperson come out and just say like, this is ridiculous. But at
Yeah,
no point has that ever really happened.
no.
Like, and like they just like
Well,
they
like
just try to discredit him more
even that
so than anything.
scene in the documentary where they raid his place, they literally were mentioning things that he was talking about the day before with Jeremy Corbell, where it was like the phone was listening to. They
Yeah.
brought that stuff up, and there's like no way they would have even known, other than like they're watching him.
Yeah,
That
NSA shit.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Like it's crazy.
it's crazy, dude. But let's get into some we got, again, like we said, this is just gonna be like a little taste of what our the We Want to Believe show is gonna be. It's gonna be on Wednesday, so we're gonna just get into some we got a couple UFO videos we're just gonna look at, and I don't know, just give our thoughts about it. So
Yeah,
let us know what you guys think, especially if you haven't seen the Jeremy Corbett. What is it called? You remember what it's called?
I don't. But if you type in Bob Lazar,
Yeah,
Jeremy
let
Corbell,
me look up what it's called real quick, just so we
yeah.
can tell you.
Now, the other thing I would say too, while you're looking that up, is obviously draw your own conclusions with these videos. We're just kind of selecting ones that we think are pretty good. We may even have some ones that are obviously bad, just to kind of show you the difference. But we're not trying to force you into believing anything. It's
Oh
just
no, yeah, this is pure. That's why I said tinfoil hat, pure speculation. If we watch something, like, we're gonna give you our honest and uneducated opinions
for
on it.
sure.
That's the whole point of this channel. Like, we just
Yeah.
talk about things that we see. We may not have like the level of credence that someone like a Bob Lazar is gonna have on
Yeah.
this.
Or
We're
any of
just
those
saying,
guys.
based on what we see in these videos, we're just talking about it, giving
Yeah.
what our opinions on it. Like, however uneducated may be, they're just our honest opinions on whatever it is that we're looking at. But yeah, it's called documentary itself. It's called Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, and it is on Netflix right now. So you can also, I know you can buy it on like Amazon and everything too, because that's where I bought it when it first came out. So
Yeah.
if you're interested, here it is. Go check it out. It's super compelling, especially like we said, if you're
It's
not,
interesting.
yeah, and if you're on the fence about even becoming a skeptic, then this is a great place to start.
Yeah.
Like, and even if you are like super against it and like super skeptical, don't think these things are real in any way, shape, or form, check this out and just see, let us know what you think, like down in the comment section below. If you liked it, if you found it compelling, I don't know, I'm just curious. I want to
Yeah.
know how many people out there feel the same way we feel about this stuff.
For sure.
Because like aside from movies and comic book stuff, like this stuff always fascinates.
Yeah, Nate and I've been
Fascinates.
Rob and I have been friends for a long time. We've always talked about this sort of stuff.
Always.
It's always just interesting to bring up and like you said, put your tinfoil hat on and just kind of go down the wormhole with it.